Okay, so we've applied these. We've applied the 4D timelining parameter to the model, but now we want to make sure that this reference that we've made is constant across the project. That's the easiest way of keeping track of what goes on in the 4D situation. So what I've done is very quickly set up a sample MS project file. And if you notice here, I've used the same numbers in the to refer between the MS project file and the Revit model. I very simply right-click on anywhere on the columns here, insert a new column, and you just make it a text column. So just come down all the way down here and just text one. It's fine. So that's what I did. I made it text one, and then I just manually entered these numbers in here, which you can do as you go along, and then you continually update as you revise how the project is going to be constructed. But you can see here I've set up the structure external walls on the first level and on the second level. And in this case, I've made a very simple connection between them because you have to build the ground floor structure before the first floor structure, and this first floor structure before the second floor structure, and so on. But as we get further along, you can see that the insulation on both levels, they can actually be performed more or less at the same time, because it's not it doesn't happen in horizontal layers. It can be built in the way that people see fit. I haven't talked about framing structure or whatever for holding the cladding, but we can get into that at level of detail 400. And then with the cladding, you can see I've started at residential level 2, so we're actually building the cladding down from the top of the wall. You don't necessarily have to build up all the time. If you're dealing with a cladding system, it's more likely you're going to be building downwards, because there has to be a certain amount of overlapping to control rainwater and so on. And then once the cladding has been finished, then we can start to do the internal finishes, and they can also happen parallel. It just it requires a larger team of people to allow that to happen. So that's the way I've set it up, just so we have some kind of systematic for this LOD 300 model. So then if we go into Navisworks here, I can start a new time plan, because we're dealing with a higher level of detail now. So I'm going to append this level of detail 300 architectural to this Navisworks project here. Open that up. So if you remember, this is the level of detail project where we've already split it into parts, so we can see that we can select the individual parts there. Okay, so then we need to add the Microsoft project file. Well, there it is there. Open that up. And the one thing we need to take into account here is where we have the columns in Navisworks on the left here, we have the opportunity to map those columns to the files that are coming in here. So where we have the opportunity for user 1, I'm going to map user 1 to task 1, or sorry, text 1 I mean. Text 1, so the two of them come in together. So I press OK, and then as usual, right click, rebuild task hierarchy. And then if I go to the tasks here, we can see the tasks have come in as they usually do. Oops, let's just drag that over if we can, grab it, and so forth. So what I'm going to put in here, if I right click, oh sorry, no, that's the wrong program. If I press this button here, I want to choose some extra columns in here. So I want to choose the user 1 that we've just added, and you can see user 1 now comes in with all the attached references that we put in there. You can also right click on it and rename it and call it 4D. Let's make it look the same. 4D time lining. 4D time lining. There you go. Let's stretch out again. It won't let me stretch very much here. There we go. Okay. Now, so we have the 4D timelining references here, and we also have them in the model because we've put them in as parameters. So now we want to associate the two. So once again, we use search sets. So I don't need to worry about the different layers here or anything else because I've already given numbers based on the layers. You can see that I've actually copied across the work I showed you in the video from the first level. I've also done it for the second level here. So I don't need to show you that in the video. It's the same process again. But I can use the search find items panel here. Make it a bit bigger again. To come down here and find the the element property. And now we have the 4D timelining property here. We have condition equals, and then we have all the numbers we've put in there. So if I press A110, find all, you can see it's taking the internal walls here. So once again, I save that search set. So let's just use the same again. Whoops, A underscore 110. And we can very quickly go through and choose 120. Search set A120. Let's just go through the whole thing. Find all. So now what we want to do is we don't want to have to go around linking all these things individually because these lists can become extremely long after some time. So what we can use is this button here, which is called Auto Attach Using Rules. If I press this button here, you can see that there are 3 standard rules already set up. And here you can see we have one that seems to suit us. Map timeliner tasks from column name to selection sets with the same name. So let's select that. And if I double click on it, we can change the column to the 4D timelining column. And the selection sets have the same. So if I apply those rules, you can see once I close it down that the selection sets have automatically been attached to the timeline there. So all we need to do now is change the task type. So we want it all to be construction. So rather than selecting it individually, we can just select this one, change it to construct. Let's just make that a bit bigger so we can, if we have some time or some room to see all this stuff. So that's construct. And rather than doing it all individually, I'm holding down the shift key. And once I do that, I can right click and press this fill down button, which then changes all of them in one go to construction. So now if we go to the simulate and we run the simulation, the construction is now taking place according to how we set up the walls. So you can do that within your project for any of the layered constructions. You can do the entire project just by assigning a timeliner parameter to it within the Revit project, and then using this technique to assign your timeline. So the key to it is using the same values both in Revit to set up the parameter, in Navisworks in the search set, but most importantly in the MS project file. If we go back to the MS project file here, in order to set up a link between the different softwares. What that means is if we change any of these details, as long as the numbers are the same in the Revit model, the Navisworks model will automatically update.